So let's talk about
Arcane.
Arcane.
Can you believe this, Rain?
Sure, I'm a little late to the topic, but what can I say? I'm not exactly known for being on time. And yes, the second season was so beautiful and wonderful and divisive, but I actually want to talk about the first season real quick. Because you know what? I feel that the pantheon of Arcane standing tubers didn't really flesh out all the significant thematic depth and cultural significance that season has to offer. So allow me, dear viewer, to present my own convoluted thoughts. And spoilers. Obviously. Of course, like any terrible Arcane video essayist, I'm going to talk about the finale. It's not going to be quite the 70-second ending explained video, I promise, because I want to focus specifically on the moments leading up to Jinx's breakdown, I guess I'll call it, which I believe could have largely been avoided, if not for some good old, stubbornly ignorant, loving family. Let me cook. As this moment begins, when Vi starts pleading with Powder to remember their family, it highlights the two phenomenon that we already know from previous scenes. First, that Jinx now associates the names and faces of her family with vivid, terrifying hallucinations. And second, Vi's complete obliviousness to this fun new word association game. She doesn't understand how intertwined Jinx's inner voices have become with the old cutting words of their brothers and herself. And she doesn't understand how Silco, who has fostered the narrative of Jinx being a victim of her family, has basically encouraged the hallucinations. And neither Vi nor Silco realize how this development leads ultimately to Jinx's choice of identity. See, in the second act, before the sisters reunite, Jinx begins to struggle once more with the haunting memories of her past. And Silco, the supposed best father figure of 2021, first comforts her with a blanket statement, "Fear haunts us all." He's trying? ? But then later goes several Olympic leaps further in an ex-Protestant kid triggering baptism ritual, where he names the entirety of his own traumatic past as letting a weak man die, then names her weakness as her entire childhood existence, Powder, which is a decision? But he's trying? ? It's this terribly powerful suggestion that ultimately leads to Jinx perceiving the tension between her sister and Silco as a matter of choosing her identity. Not long after the pseudo-evangelical dunk in the river is when Jinx's two assumptions of the state of her world start to crack. Vi shows back up, deeply apologetic, and offering her a way back to sisterhood and innocence, flying in the face of all the trauma-induced identity building and internal voices she's grown. And she begins to doubt Silco's intentions with her upbringing, given he lied about Vi's leaving her, and now especially as she sees his own desperate, reckless behavior to claim his manifest destiny city-state of Zaun. It becomes such an anxiety-inducing build-up, waiting for which side finally proves the other wrong, and that tension explodes so beautifully in her breakdown. Vi, in her ignorant attempts at reaching out to her sister, calls up her sister's demons, demanding she sees them and her as the loved ones they used to be. And Silco, with his so carefully written dying words, makes his intentions crystal clear. This whole time, he has been speaking not dismissively of her pain, but in spite of it. He has loved her despite the mess, despite her voices, despite her hallucinations. And that level of acceptance, of unconditional affection, I'm not crying again. I literally am not even watching it right now. I'm just talking about it, but it's still so beautiful. God, maybe he is 2021's Father of the Year. And his very last words, simply saying, "You're perfect," is the placing of the last brick into the wine cellar wall, sealing her completely into the identity of Jinx. See, sometimes all it takes to feel loved is just to hear a loved one acknowledge the change that has occurred and still accept you, baggage and all. And sometimes all it takes to feel that deep, cutting knife of rejection is for loved ones to deny said baggage and all the pain and all that's changed, instead just trying to take you back to some idyllic past that no longer exists. Of course, in this wonderfully dreadful story of these sisters, There were so many additional forces at play that still doomed them to disconnect. But I think it's fair to say that one key element to this beautifully written conflict is just a lack of understanding, a lack of listening, and a real need to just feel heard and accepted in order to heal, in order to connect.